Thank you so much for coming out this afternoon to hear about our Professional Science Masters of Biomanufacturing and Bioprocessing program. And we have a number of different types of people in the audience. We have people from UGA, administrators, outreach people, faculty, and we have current students, we have prospective students, we have graduates of our program, and then we have a number of industry partners that have taken time out of their incredibly busy schedules to spend a couple of hours with us this afternoon. So I don't think I need to encourage this group to network. You're pretty good at that already, and my students know how very important that is, and we really do appreciate your taking time to come out. So I'm Joy Doran-Peterson. I know probably most of you in the room. I'm the director of this program and the graduate coordinator. And so what we planned for you this afternoon is just to tell you a bit about the history or the genesis of the program, and then more importantly, have the people who have actually gone through the program and the industries who have either trained our interns and or hired our graduates to talk to you about their perspective. And then we've asked a couple of our future intern partners and business partners who haven't really solidified the handshake just yet to come and speak to us as well. And I wanted to start off this presentation by asking the director of the Biomedical and Health Sciences Institute, Dr. Harry Daly, to give you a little bit of a perspective about what the BHSI is really all about. And then hopefully you'll see why our program is housed in this particular institute.
Hi, I'm Harry Daly. Some of you know me, some don't. And I want to thank Joy because she actually gave me my 2 slides, so I'm scripted to stay on time today. But she asked me to spend a little bit of time just talking about the BHSI, which is sort of the home of the program. And these slides give you a little bit of background about it. We have over about 170 faculty members. It's a virtual institute. We don't own the lines. It's just faculty participate in the programs. We have 3 divisions. We have basic and translational biomedical sciences, neurosciences, and One Health. We have student programs, which you're going to hear about today, is the MBB program, which has actually also been the genesis of a NIH proposal, so-called BEST program. We're trying to take some of the best things from this and expand it into a graduate kind of program. We have a PhD in neurosciences. That's a program that's been ongoing now for about 6 years, I think. And in the last year, we got a new PhD program in interdisciplinary biomedical sciences, which is really a generic program that allows groups of faculty who have sort of specialty interests that aren't satisfied by individual departments to actually put together sort of specialty graduate programs to attract, some of the best and brightest graduate students who might have an interest that's not satisfied by an individual department. We're also the home for the ARCS Foundation, which is I could talk about that for half an hour, but it's basically a group of women who got together back after Sputnik and decided to invest in graduate education, and has provided not scholarships or fellowships, but just outright money to graduate students who are selected as ARC scholars. And I'm happy to say that we've been in this program for a number of years, and we've now grown up to where we're supporting 10 students a year from the ARCS Foundation. We also are the home for the graduate student or graduate student exchange with what I still call MCG, but it's GRU. That's been going on for a number of years, where we just get our graduate students to go there and theirs to come here and give seminars. And we also are the advising office for the graduate students and postdocs in science, which is an organization that was organized by graduate students and postdocs a number of years ago and run a number of programs. And I really don't want to take credit for them because they're an incredible group of students and postdocs who put on some really wonderful programs. Last week they put on a program that they do every year on careers that are available outside of the sort of normal things that you might think of. The thing that we try to do is we foster efforts in biomedical health sciences. And in doing that, some of the things that we've done in the past was we've served as an incubator for the College of Public Health. One of the ideas when we got started about a dozen years ago, when Karen Holbrook was in provost, was that we could serve as an incubator where people could develop programs which could then be turned into something else. And so our first graduate program was actually a Master in Public Health, and that served as the first step to create the College of Public Health, which was rolled out a year later. We also we do an annual symposium, and for a number of years we did one on global health, and that then turned into the Center for Global Health in the College of Public Health as well. We provide grant development support administration. We had a CDC grant in the past. One thing I'd also like to say is that the building that you're in was sort of leveraged by the BHSI. When we were formed, Karen Holbrook then said, well, we need a building, and so we did that, and she didn't tell me at the time I got to be the PI on the $10 million grant, which required monthly reports, but we did that as well. So I think I'll just stop right there because I don't want to take up time from the MBB program, which is what you want to hear today. So Joy, want to come?
We'll be moving relatively rapidly through the agenda here. So Harry just gave you the overview of the BHSI, and I'll be popping in and out to give you some highlights of the program, but I encourage you to please take a look at our website if you haven't already done so for some more detailed information. And even better than that, talk to our students who are here. We'll talk a little bit about a researcher's perspective on the program from Dr. Ralph Tripp was kind enough to come give his perspective. We'll also talk about the Terry College reason for helping us launch this program. And then we have a few graduate students who will formally talk to you about their experiences as well as some of our industry partners. So our program is a true professional science master's program, and some of you are very familiar with that type of format and some of you are not familiar at all. So I wanted to take just a minute and talk to you about the genesis of this program. And a professional science master's is like a hybrid of business courses and hard scientific disciplines. So our students take courses with PhD and master's level students in biochemistry and microbiology and genetics and engineering, but they also take business classes directly with MBA students. And what we're trying to do is listen to what industry is telling us about the type of employee that they're looking for, and then to create the kind of person, their ideal employee. And so it's really important that you get some stories from how we've had some successes in doing this. I'm very proud of our students. And our NSF grant that helped us actually get this program started, I saw David Lee came in. Thank you for joining us. Our Vice President for Research, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Lee. There was the National Science Foundation had a solicitation for grant proposals, and there was an internal competition at UGA because we were only allowed to send one program forward, and David's office selected our program to go forward as representing UGA, and I'm happy to say we were funded, and that provided the impetus for actually getting started. And the title of our proposal is up there, From Science to Business in Biomanufacturing, the Missing Link for the U.S. Biotechnology Industry. So the professional science masters are quite different. I hit a couple of these highlights already, but we really try to emphasize working in an environment that is going to be much more like you would experience in industry. So there's quite a bit of teamwork, team building. There's a lot of emphasis on communication, both up the chain and down the chain. There's an opportunity for professional development in leadership courses and entrepreneurship. We really focus on research that has a connection to industry. Either it could be to help industry solve a problem, or it could be to help industry with something they'd like to explore, but they don't really have the time or the effort of their own resources to do that in-house, and so they might collaborate with a university partner. So this research experience could take place on campus or actually at the company itself. And we really try to help the students understand the power of networking very early. So as soon as they contact me, I start talking to them about potential jobs in industry. What do they see themselves doing? What do they know about? And just trying to start putting the pieces together. And why here at UGA? Why did we decide this was a good thing to do at UGA? Well, there are a number of reasons, and not the least of which is my former colleague, Tim Davis, who used to run our fermentation facility, and Alan Amison, who's here from the Terry College. We started talking about the explosion in biomanufacturing companies and biotechnology companies. And what we heard from industry is that we're really pretty good at training PhD level scientists. We do a pretty good job there. And at the technical level or technician level, groups like Athens Technical College, Jeff Rapps here, do a very good job training at the technician level. But where we were kind of missing the mark was in the middle. So what industry was telling us they needed were people who could actually do the science, who were technically trained, but who could also help manage a team and understand how to manage a project, how to figure out how do you do a budget, how do you figure out how much time it will take, and then how do you communicate to the people who maybe don't have a scientific background, but maybe they have an MBA, and then how do you communicate with your team and manage them effectively? And so what we tried to create, and I think what we've done, is we've brought in industry members as part of our advisory board, and they helped us develop the curriculum. And so we've been able to launch some new classes to meet the needs of industry. We have a new industrial microbiology and biotechnology class with the lab. We have an intensive fermentation class that allows students to work on industry relevant equipment and really get some hands-on training. And our goal is for our students to really own these skills when they leave. So they hit the ground running when they get to their internships. Okay? So another reason why we thought this was a great idea for us to do this at the University of Georgia is because of a wonderful facility that we have called the Bioexpression and Fermentation Facility. And David Blum, David's the director of that facility, and if you've not had a chance to visit it, I'm sure David would love to show you around, right? So it's really wonderful for us to have this here at UGA because you can do experiments from very small scale up to 800 liter, right? It's the largest scale fermenter, with all the downstream processing equipment. And he's really expanded the monoclonal antibody facility and doing a lot more mammalian cell culture. And this is actually really a nationally recognized or internationally recognized biomanufacturing pilot plant that we have here on campus a lot of people don't know about. And so I work really closely with David in providing training for our students on real-world equipment. And so that was one of our selling points too. And not only our equipment, but we have really talented faculty here. And so our program is really very, very interdisciplinary in that we have faculty from the Franklin College of Arts and Sciences. So we have people in microbiology like myself, people in biochemistry and molecular biology, which is where David is, and Bill, I don't know if Bill showed up, Bill Lanzalata also has mentored some of our students. The Terry College of Business that Alan will tell you about, the College of Engineering, Mark's here somewhere, Mark Eidemann and Yajun Yan and some others have helped train some of our students. The College of Pharmacy participates mostly via the Regulatory Affairs program. So our students take ethics, sometimes they'll take biostatistics. They have the option of actually getting a certificate in Regulatory Affairs too. And our goal for doing that was making sure that our students understood when you go to work in industry, it's a whole different world from academia, and you need to know how to maneuver within that regulatory environment, and you need to understand some of the constraints on how you move. Vet medicine, Ralph Tripp's an example of that, and then the Warnell School as well. And if you don't know about our College of Pharmacy Regulatory Affairs program, I just put this in here, and some of you will have copies of this. Just take a look at what they have to offer. So now I'd like to just stop for a minute and let Dr. Amison give you his perspective about why he thought it was important for the Terry College to partner with us. And Alan was actually a co-PI on the initial NSF grant.
As you can see, I was formerly the chair of the management department at the Terry College Business. Did that for 7 years. Was a faculty member there for 17, and am now the new dean at the College of Business at Georgia Southern. So it's nice to be back, and it's nice to have a full room because I'm very proud of my involvement in this program and the Terry College's involvement and my involvement with Joy. How this came about, let me just quickly tell you a couple of things. How this came about, Joy, Tim, Harry came to the College of Business interested in developing this program, and I suspect they looked at faculty department chairs alphabetically and came to Amison. And so they came in and they said, listen, we want to tell you what we're thinking. And it was a tremendous value proposition. So much so that I was excited and was able to involve our college, our MBA program, our dean, and help with the grant and also help with the execution of the program. We helped with the design of the curriculum a little bit in designing really three pieces. A piece that is, I guess we'd call it core or essential business skills, strategy, accounting, economics, that would be important to anyone, and then trying to build in some flexibility depending upon the career track that people saw, whether it be an entrepreneurship sort of small venture track or whether it be a large corporate track. The coursework is a little bit different, and I think we were successful at that. I think it's been very successful. Certainly the students that have gone through, I think, have gotten good value from our MBA classes, and our MBA program has benefited substantially from the involvement of those students. The question I sometimes get asked by people, even after I have now gone, people who know something about the program, is why would the College of Business, you know, I don't want to say bother, but invest time and energy, right? This is on the other side of campus. This is not what we do in business schools typically. And the answer is really important to, I think, the value proposition of the program. So I'll tell you what I answer when people ask. We're involved, and I say we as the College of Business representative, even though I'm no longer there, but we continue to be involved for three reasons. One, because of you. Now, when I say you, I'm talking about prospective students, graduates of the program, people who are in it now. As a business school, we think in terms of investment and the return on that investment. And we believe that you personally represent a tremendous investment with tremendous upside. How so? Well, because the science knowledge that you have is very marketable and very important. But it only is marketable and it only provides a good return when it's connected to the business world. So being able to connect those two pieces in one person, in one value proposition, makes you very, very profitable. And that provides us tremendous opportunity. It's good for the university. This university has tremendous resources. I've been to many universities across the country, and the resources that Harry's outlined, that Joy have outlined, are unmatched most places elsewhere. To put those together with a highly regarded business school creates a value proposition that few other universities anywhere in the world will be able to match. And again, as a business-minded person, I think in terms of competitive advantage, and that represents a tremendous potential for competitive advantage for the University of Georgia. And then the last piece is simply because I'm thinking into the future. Hopefully I will be around for some time and I will be making my living in this higher education world. And I believe to make my living in this higher education world and to do it well, I'm going to have to acknowledge the fact that the future is going to be different from the past. What the future will require of business schools and universities in general is a substantial return on investment. In other words, society will look at universities in the same way business schools look at investments. They want a positive return. This is a program that I think can provide that return. As evidence of that, there are more people here than there were last year. And there will be more next than there are now. And this will grow, and it will be modeled and imitated by others, and we will be amongst the first. And at some point, whether I'm at Georgia Southern or some other place, I'll be able to say, hey, even in a small way, I was a part of that. And it will be tremendously successful, and I'll be very proud of that success. So, the Terry College, I guess, is not bound by anything I say any longer, are they? But I can promise you, they're happy to be involved. Okay, they gave me all the latitude that I needed to help Joy in getting the program up and running. They continue to be happy to be involved. They will stay involved, and they'll continue to invest because we see a good return in that investment. Thank you.
So I mentioned to you a bit about the National Science Foundation grant, and so most of the money for this grant helped us with student scholarships and student stipends to help get the word out, because we were an unknown, right? So you had to have something that would bring the students to this program and get them to participate. Spoke to you about the Industrial Advisory Board. Our program, in case you're wondering, it's a 38 credit curriculum, takes most people about 18 to 24 months to complete. Industry-linked research projects. And one of the keys to our program also is we require our students to do internships in order to get their degree. They must do an internship. They have to. Right, guys? Yes, they will. So we need you. And some of the companies here, a couple of the other companies said, well, who else is here? So this is a list of some of our partners: Mariel, Novozymes, EndoChoice, Meridian, Genentech, Terrapin Beer Company, Swiss Austral, Green Biologics, a biofuels company, Lallemand Biofuels and Distilled Spirits, Baxter, Thermo Fisher Scientific, DuPont, Synergiva, and there are some more. So as Alan indicated, we really are expanding. We're very excited about the successes of our students, and we invite you to work with us. And so now I'd like to ask Dr. Tripp to give us his perspective as a researcher about why he participates and why he thinks this is important.
I'm a Georgia Research Alliance chair in vaccine and therapeutic studies, and one of the things that the Georgia Research Alliance does is try to generate and embed industry in the state of Georgia. So my lab in general works quite differently than many of the labs in Cross University, in that we do reductionism science to a level. We have an exit strategy for everything we do, and we embed industry in our lab. So this is the 3 E's: embed, engage, and excel, and we actually do that. We've been doing this for a number of years. The variety of industry that ranges from Alnylam Pharmaceuticals to Thermo Fisher, Elanco, and so on and so forth. And we've had students in our lab as well. Michael has a nice poster outside showing some of the work we've done, and he's won awards for this as well. So I can speak very highly of the program. We've had a very good group of people that have come through. But I want to emphasize something that's this sort of relaxing the dogma about industry and academics. So historically, everyone's believed that academic and industry promote opposing cultures because of their needs. Essentially, they're saying that academia focuses on creating an open environment where we share everything, and industry operates in many ways in an opposite way, where they emphasize controlling internal and external data release because it's for profit. But at the end of the day, what we found to be true, and over my years of work, including my years at the CDC, was that there's a porosity in this barrier. There's actually exchange of information and ideas that have to occur on really a daily basis. So one of the things I'd like to point out to the students is that when you're thinking forward here, it's important to understand that industry and academics can work and engage collaboratively. They're very important, and that research is conducted in industry in areas of relevance to them. Obviously, they need to make profit. But they also recognize that they can learn a lot from gaining the competence of what's done at the university, engaging in federally funded research dollars to help promote their cause and so forth. So industry benefits from these long-term collaborations with groups like mine and others here at the university. And it's the critical mass that allows this to happen. You have to have this to drive the science forward. As an example, the person who will be speaking behind me is John Carpolo from Thermo Fisher. And we've been working with Thermo Fisher for a long time, trying to understand the virus host interrelationship, primarily looking at what viral genes are required, what host genes are required for viral replication. The goal here is to develop both therapeutic strategies that can prevent virus replication by targeting druggable genes, but also working with Thermo and the Gates Foundation to create enhanced vaccine cell lines. And so this has led to a huge opportunity in changing the way vaccines are made. And today, this has been funded at several different levels from Gates and from Thermo, and now we're spinning out companies based on the work that's being done here at UGA through people that are coming to our lab, like Michael. It's really important to understand that industry often drives the research agenda when you embed them in your lab. But of course, you have to understand where you're going. So the forward thinking of where you can get by collaboration is very important. So my 5-minute speech is that I don't think that there is a barrier between industry and academia. I think that there's this porous membrane in which things can move through. You just have to think forward that way. And I strongly encourage the people to think about moving into areas of interest, particularly, and I would be happy to have more students is what I'm essentially saying, because I think we could do things really well, and I appreciate your efforts, Joy. Thanks.
So I'd like to start off by thanking Joy for the opportunity to come and talk. I've got to say, when I was listening to your description, I was thinking I really could have used a program like this about 20 years ago when I was young. You know, this combination of this wedding of science together with business savvy is really important, and I think it's a growing trend. I'm actually on the corporate advisory board for the University of Albany, and they're doing exactly this. They're wedding the RNA Institute together with the business school, together with the Nanotechnology Center, and it's incredibly successful. So for me, I was asked to come give just a brief description about the company that I work for, Thermo Fisher Scientific, and try to give sort of the connections between Thermo and academia. For those of you who are not familiar with Thermo Fisher Scientific, we're a fairly large company with the recent acquisition of Life Technologies. We're roughly 45,000 employees. I actually report to the life science group, and there are 3 divisions within the life science. There's the bioscience division, the bioproduction division, and the genetic and medical analysis division. As you can imagine, just as you have at a university, you can have in a corporation, when you get literally hundreds of people together who are well-trained, who are creative thinkers, you have really the ability to participate in an incredible range of fields. And so that's certainly what's going on at Thermo Fisher. We participate, obviously, in creating new designs, new products in the field of drug discovery. We have a large stem cell biology group, which focuses primarily in regenerative medicine. A lot of the materials and discoveries that are coming out of the genetic and medical sciences group go directly into human identification, forensic sciences. And then we are now having a burgeoning sort of explosion in synthetic biology. And of course, this comes from the expansion of gene synthesis technologies, gene sequencing technologies. All of this together with these biobricks databases that are being built are coming together to create a synthetic biology group. In addition to that, we have a very large presence in bioproduction. And as was the case with all of these fields, really it's multiple groups throughout the company, including instrumentation groups, chemistry groups. All of these guys feed new technologies into bioproduction. And as a result of that, we have this opportunity to create new technologies for basically every single step in the bioproduction workflow, from cell line development all the way through product purification. I don't want to get into all the details under that, but I guess maybe one of the messages I want to give to you is that this concept of wedding together science together with business savvy is really important in a corporate setting, because I think my career at Thermo Fisher is a great example of this. I came in initially as sort of a liaison between the R&D group and the legal group, doing a lot of intellectual property analyses to try to understand what direction we should actually be going into. And then took a 7-year hiatus and then went into R&D, working with some very talented chemists in nucleic acid chemistry, and then finally several virologists working on new viral platforms for delivering molecules into cells. So, and the last 3 years has really been into business development. I should say I'm not really a classic business development. I really wish I had some sort of finance sort of background. That would have been nice. So because I don't have that finance background, they sort of said, well, why don't we push you over here? You can be in charge of developing sort of relationships with academic institutes, trying to identify lead researchers, like our relationship with Dr. Tripp, and build new programs that maybe industry by themselves wouldn't take advantage of. Maybe it's a little bit too high risk. Maybe the window for commercialization is a little bit too long. So instead, what we do is we develop these collaborations and partnerships. And just to give you an idea in a little bit more detail of what Dr. Tripp was talking about, it's been, what, 4.5, 5 years now that we've been working together to see whether it's possible to really tweak the human genome ever so slightly in such a way as to increase virus production. Now, a lot of people think, well, why would you want to increase virus production? That seems sort of antithetical with what you would want to do. Instead, think of it in the context of vaccine production, okay? So if we can knock down 1 or 2 genes in such a way as to increase virus production, think about how that would affect the vaccines that we produce today. And I can tell you at this point in time, this is after several years of research, we have screened through the entire human genome using the tools that were created at Thermo Fisher Scientific and the expertise that exists here at UGA. And what we've identified is a very, very small collection out of the 18,000 genes that we've screened through, about a dozen genes that you can knock down ever so slightly. And in the worst case scenario, you increase vaccine or virus production, specifically poliovirus, by 5-fold. In the best case scenario, we've increased it 50 to 60-fold. And just think about how that type of innovation is going to completely change bioproduction for vaccines. If a typical bioproduction for a vaccine is 10,000 liters, if you had a cell line you could simply substitute in there and it had a 20-fold increase, you go from 10,000 liters down to 500 liters. That's going to change how manufacturers can get a profit out of vaccine production. It's going to change the price of vaccines for people who really need them. It's going to change the amount of space which is dedicated to one particular vaccine. Now you open up that space for other vaccines. So my 5 minutes is almost up, and I promise that. No, I hope so. I don't need to tell anybody in this room, there are incredible challenges that we are faced with in bioproduction. And I think that the key message taking home here is with the right education, sounds like the right education you're getting here, put that together with the right environment. And maybe that environment is academics, but maybe it's a setting like Thermo Fisher Scientific. Put those two together, and we're going to come up with the solutions for the problems that we currently have. So, thank you.
So I wanted to have that story illustrated for you in a little more detail. And I wanted you to see the kinds of students that we're attracting to the program and the kinds of students that we're targeting. These students they're hungry, they're ready to focus, they're ready to work hard, they thrive in a team environment, they really want this interdisciplinary experience. They really value the hands-on training and the connectedness to the applications of the science that they're learning about. And what a lot of the students have told me just today, too, is that they're using the skills that they've learned in their MBA courses and in their, in addition to the skills development, that they're using these talents every day. So we're really thrilled about what we're doing now, and we need to stay connected to industry to make sure that we stay on the right track. So we need that constant feedback. In case you're wondering about our students, our program is relatively small. We have 16 students who've matriculated into the program. 6 have graduated, all are employed in the field. 5 more are currently in internships. 3 are looking for internships now. And 2 left the program for personal reasons. The ages range from fresh out of undergrad to I've been in the field for a long time, don't say exactly I'm 50 plus, to most of the, and I don't do this on purpose. I had someone ask me, do you do this on purpose? You say, okay, 1 male, 1 female. No, I don't do that. It just shook out that way. Racially diverse, ethnically diverse, however you want to slice it, have an international component. We do have a Fulbright scholar from Ecuador. We're likely to have another Fulbright from Brazil who found out about our program specifically and wanted to come here for this experience. And I'll ask Deanna a little bit later to talk about her experience too. Starting salary ranges, students always want to know, well, okay, what's my return on investment, right, Alan? What am I going to get out of this if I pay more for this program? And our ranges are quite broad. It kind of depends on where you locate and where you are in the country, but they range from in the 50s to over 6 figures. And they're really excellent job prospects. And most of our students are hired by their internship companies. And so we have 2 of our first graduates here, Leonard and Mark. So Leonard and Mark will be coming down in just a minute. Jack has an interesting story in that he convinced me to let him do his internship at Terrapin. And I thought, okay. And if you know Jack, some of you know Jack and you're chuckling, Jack was like the den mother of the fraternities on campus. So he lived in the fraternity village and helped kind of police them. And then he wanted to do his internship at Terrapin. I was like, So I said, well, if you write up exactly what you're going to do, and if you show me, you take me to the company and we'll meet and we'll go through what exactly you're planning, then maybe. And so he did that, and what happened was his timing was perfect in that Terrapin has quadrupled their capacity in the last couple of years. And right when Jack was coming on board, they didn't really have a formalized quality control person per se. And so Jack created a position for himself, and so now he does all of their quality control. And they had a site visit pop up out of the blue, and he's really sorry he can't be here, but so he's not here. And I would like to ask Mark to come down. Mark Haslis is one of our first graduates, and Mark has this poster that's outside, and you can ask him some questions at the reception. And of course, I won't ask Mark to read any of this to you, but I wanted you to get just a little bit of a flavor of some of the students' stories and how they got to be where they are.
Okay, Mark Cassilis, happy to be here. Thank you, Joy. Yeah, this is a poster that I presented after graduation and to help give an idea, but it has some still pertinent information on there. Originally from Roswell, Georgia, North Atlanta. You know, born and raised. Did my undergraduate at Georgia Tech in biomedical engineering. Graduated in 2009. It was a difficult job market, and I had some opportunities, just not quite what I was looking for. And Joy was starting the MBB program at that time, and I was attracted by the industrial microbiology aspect because though I was in biomedical engineering, I had a propensity to biology. As probably most interested in biology as far as just a core subject. So I was attracted to the program, got involved in the first class with Jack, and Leonard joined shortly after. And you know, one of the biggest criteria for me deciding to join the program was sort of the clear path forward to a career. And you had more of an idea with some. I value my biomedical engineering undergrad because you have so much exposure, but there's not necessarily a direct link to where you're going to end up if you want to be in the industry. So that was my primary attraction to join the program. Did some undergraduate or some graduate research in Dr. Peterson's lab. That was pretty much my crash course in fermentation. And alongside of her industrial microbiology class, really, you know, that's where I understood, you know, what goes into the process and what it would mean to be working in an industry. You know, what sort of you know, monster you have to deal with. Some of the MBA coursework, and most particularly the sort of the capstone of the MBA coursework that I value the most, was the strategic management class. It incorporates almost all of the, you know, the full gamut of the MBA courses into sort of one neat little package. Of course, you can't go as deep into all the subject matter, but you get the full exposure, and I think that's something that I'm able to constantly draw on, the sort of the skill sets learned there, so from Gantt charts to budgeting to, you know, understanding value streams, things like that. I completed a internship with the BFF, and Dr. Blum gave me some guidance there. I did some hands-on work with the desk skip, walking down, making protocols, SOPs. So I exchanged SOPs for some experience with Dr. Blum. That was our little trade-off. But you know, it was just having that hands-on, visual understanding, able to run, assist the technicians there in their projects, and being able to understand what's going on just sets you worlds apart when you start talking to these companies, you guys, to show them that you know what you're doing, and they don't have to spend 3 months training you. They can maybe skip ahead a couple months, and they know that you can start giving them some value within you know, well within the first 6 months of being a part of a company. I transitioned down to Bainbridge, Georgia. Next slide. Bainbridge, Georgia. Thank you. Phil Van Trump is my boss down there, director of process development. There's sister company, Danimer Scientific, started first. It's a chemical-based degradable polymer company, and they purchased Procter & Gamble's PHA, polyhydroxyalkanoate platform, their patent technology, and they're trying to commercialize it. And they're still in the startup phase, they're still in pilot scale phase, and I'm a process development engineer is my title. I first interned with them and was more focused on some of the engineering aspects of building the plant, speccing capital equipment, things like that. As many of us know, startups are very erratic in sort of the projects you're handed and sort of sometimes the directions you're pulled in. So right now what I'm working on the most is downstream processing work with material that has been prepared with our product in it, and just hammering in a large, I guess I should say, intermediate scale process for downstream processing with success and plenty of failures, but mostly some success. And you know, there's discussions of going public at this point and how and when that should happen. So this program here, the MBB program, has prepared me for sort of all the stuff I get thrown at that's thrown at me down at my job, and it's been a roller coaster ride, but it's enjoyable. And you know, I've been there for 2 years now, and I've had other opportunities, you know, full offers to go other places, and so I'll complain up and down about it, but you know, it's been fun and overall, and so I thank you, Joy, and all the people involved here to help me in that path.
So Leonard and Mark were in our first graduating class of 2012. And so again, if you could just tell your story.
Okay. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you, Dr. Peterson. Thank you, Mariel. Thank you, Novozymes. I'll kind of try to walk down the experience that I had in the program. I will say first off that I was able, as probably most people will say, even current students, I was able to apply what I learned immediately. I think that the comfort level with seeing certain bioreactors on any scale actually comes into play daily. I mean, it's good to have a conversation with our process development group, with scientists that are scaling up processes and modifying processes. And so it's funny, sometimes the assumption is that, you know, they're always explaining to you or, you know, having to kind of bring you along. And it's good to be able to point out a sparger. It's good to be able to point out, you know, certain valves and tell, you know, this is a diaphragm, you know, versus, you know, so it's terminology and kind of learning the language, I think, was something that I picked up in the program. Statistical analysis, that was something that I could go right in. I think just communication. I think if I had to say an overarching theme was something that I learned to do a little bit better was communicate. So we take the data or what we're working on, and the program prepares you to explain to someone with a science background or without a science background. So you're I hate to use the word defending, but there are often times where you're put in a situation where you've run an experiment, and now you have to go and kind of promote what you've been doing, what's the next step, and explain it to someone who may or may not be on board with what you're doing. I think that's just the nature of business. So just a summary here. I came to the program kind of as the granddad in the group. I had a few years in industry, so I was the old timer out of Jack, Mark, and I. Background was in quality control. I definitely want to thank Dr. Peterson for the hands-on work in her laboratory and just getting in the flow of doing fermentations and presenting data, generating data, being critical of your own data, you know, at times, which prepared me for my internship, which was a whirlwind. If there are representatives from Novozymes here, thank you. It was a funny thing when I got to Novozymes to do my internship, was welcomed with open arms. They were starting a very small fermentation group there at Novozymes. So 2 of the scientists that were working within the group got called out for special projects. So here comes Leonard, a fresh pair of hands, and they really put me to work. It was a great experience, but it definitely getting prepared with coursework and in the program, and really stepped on the gas pedal when I got to Novozymes. So it felt good to be able to flex a few things that I had learned while in the program. And I'll just jump right over to where I am now. I'm a research fellow with Mariel, so thanks again to Mariel. I see our representatives here. I would say each day there's something that, it could be something just being asked about the program, or it could be using a skill that I actually acquired in the MBB program that helps me, that helped me acclimate to mammalian cell culture, the virology side of things, vaccine work. So it's something that I lean back on my MBB experience daily. So I would say if you're thinking about the program, if you're thinking about partnering with the program, please dig deeper, get your questions answered. I think this program, it's impressive even coming back year after year and seeing the program grow. I am proud to be a part of it. I do think that this program has the answers to what industry needs. So I would say if you are interested, if you're even remotely interested, know someone that's interested, I'll be around later. Please ask questions. I'll tell you the good and the bad. And by bad, I mean the times when I was challenged beyond, where I thought I could go. So it's a good thing. I feel good about where I am now, and I do appreciate the program and everyone here, every partner. Thank you.
So we have our industry partner, Dr. Frank Millward, to say a few words about our interactions with Mariel.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us. This is really not only an honor, but we're very happy to be here to talk about this program. Mariel, for those of you who don't know us, in 2 words, we're a subsidiary of a large company called Sanofi, essentially a Paris-headquartered company. But we've been in Athens for the better part of 30 years, a little more, 1981. And we're an animal health company. We're one of the leading companies in animal health. And here in Athens, we make vaccines. What people don't necessarily know, we believe our facility here in Athens is the largest rabies production facility in the world, probably, as an example. When you hear about those rabies control programs in raccoons in this area that you read about in the Athens Banner, those products are made here down Olympic Drive. Sometimes they forget to report that. So we've been here for a long time. And I'm happy to answer questions. I'm happy to see you took that picture out in the middle. We have a picture of the first facility we were in when there were only about 10 or 12 people in the company. This is a footprint of our current facility. We're on Olympic Drive, and of course, if anybody is interested, and we've had many groups, many of you have been in our facilities. I can just look around this room and see a lot of people that we've interacted with. But what I'd like to say about the program is how excited we are to be part of it. I think we've been part of it from the very beginning in pretty much every capacity that you identified, from the steering committee to giving guest, I'd hate to call them lectures, talks. That's what we do. Hopefully of interest to the students, to getting interns in, to employing graduates, to creatively employing graduates like Leonard, where he's in our facility, but we get Washington to pay him. So that's the creative way of doing things. We've really benefited from this. We've had opportunity in this institution and in other places to speak to deciders, to speak to the legislature, the Georgia legislature, to Georgia's representation in Washington. And when we're asked what we need as an industry to develop and to be part of the economic development of our state, one of the key things is education. As you pointed out earlier, when you get into higher degrees or PhD students, those are national searches, and you know what? Georgia is attractive. But when you get to the core of the people that make our system work, the technicians, the masters, to start off with, we expect that they'll grow after that, but to start off the mid-level scientific managers, those tend to be more local. We well know that we're not in San Diego or San Francisco. Thank goodness we're not in Boston this winter. But we don't have the critical mass of folks in Georgia today that can compete there. although we have been successful in bringing some Californians here. So it's really important that we work with the institutions that are in this state, and certainly the levels of relationships we have with UGA are tremendous at many different levels. But this, I would say, is a flagship of that relationship that we benefit from. The students we've had have, all of them come, they're very different from each other. They've all come very well prepared. As Leonard said, hit the ground running. Of course, we expect to train them, and we're part of that training. Internship is a training, but I think Tazan here can attest to that. He manages them directly. They're pretty much immediately operational. And we anticipate to be part of this program as it develops. We can't always do everything you'd like us to do, but we will, I will commit here in front of all of you to support this program and its development, and we're looking forward to it in the future. So thank you, Joy, for this opportunity.
So I'm just going to skip ahead and ask Felipe Sarmiento to come. And we work with very well-established global companies, quite large companies, and Felipe has a bit of a different story to tell. His company is quite young, and then I would like to ask Diana, when Felipe finishes, to say a few words about her experience.
Well, thank you, Joy, for inviting me today. And hello, well, as you know right now, my name is Felipe Sarmiento. I'm the Business Development Manager of Swiss Austral USA. Well, Swiss Austral, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what is Swiss Austral, what we do. Swiss Austral is a worldwide specialist in extreme biotechnology. What we do actually is we develop innovative solutions, biocatalytic solutions, for non-standard technological issues or challenges in life science and industry. By biocatalytic solutions, we refer exactly to enzymes or enzyme products. As you may know, right now there is a big push on industry for using enzymes, for changing their current chemical processes for enzymes. And that's for many reasons, because enzymes are really beneficial. They are biodegradable, they are environmentally friendly, they are safe, they are efficient, they are effective. So they present real benefits for industry. The main problem or the main issue with enzymes right now is that we have to develop enzymes that can meet the industrial requirements. You need enzymes that can withstand or can work optimally under the industrial conditions, pH, temperature, salt concentration. So what we do at Swiss Austral? Well, our company exploits the potential of extreme microorganisms or extremophiles and their unexplored metabolic pathways as a unique source and diverse source of industrial innovation. As you may know, extremophiles are microorganisms that thrive on extreme conditions of temperature, pH, salt concentration, radiation, etc. So they have developed specific molecular tools, high-performance enzymes, good performance biomolecules, and different genes that you can actually take from them and apply to industry. And that's what we do on Swiss Austral USA. We take them and we develop these enzymes, these biomolecules, to use them on industry, to provide solutions for industry. Well, Swiss Austral, it's, as Joy said, we're a small company. We're starting here in the United States. We started on May past year. We recently established here in Athens, Georgia. But we have our main headquarters are in Chile, in Santiago, Chile. We're a South American company. And we have a second branch that is on Switzerland also. Then the question is why we decide to come to Athens. Well, there is many of the things that people have been talking today are many of the reasons why we're here. The University of Georgia represents like a really good environment for working and for attracting new companies. And actually, with the university, we have ongoing collaborations with different sectors. We have collaborations with the Georgia Genomic Facility. We have our companies located on the Georgia Biobusiness Center. So we have an active collaboration with the Georgia Biobusiness Center. We have an active collaboration with the Bioexpression and Fermentation Facility with David. And of course, we have an active collaboration with the Biomanufacturing program, the Biomanufacturing and Bioprocessing program. We are currently accepting students. We think that the sparks on the students are really important for making a company grow. So here in United States, also in Chile and in Switzerland, we always try to work with different institutes, with universities. And actually we have a really, we have been only a year here, but we already have a really good experience with one of the students of the program. Diana has been working with us for almost this complete year since we started operations, and she has been an invaluable, a really valuable asset for our company. So we're really glad, and she was really prepared. When she came to the office for the first day, she was immediately know what he has to do, and after a little conversation about what the company is, she started immediately working on it, on the business or industrial side and on the scientific side. So we're really happy with the outcome for Diana. And if every other student wants to try with our company, we're more than happy to accept them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't have any fancy slides, so it's just here. It's all here. Well, yes, my name is Diana Mogrovejo. I'm from Ecuador, South America. I'm a Fulbright scholar. Well, my background a little bit is I had an undergrad degree in biotechnology. I worked at a law firm where I was advising in patentability examinations in the life sciences. And I came here because this program not only had literally the two fields that I wanted in the title, biomanufacturing and bioprocessing, but also because it combined the science classes that are reinforcing my knowledge and are giving me a very solid base in the science part, right? But with these very challenging business courses that actually helped the scientists in me to go out there and be able to talk and spread the word. Right now I am in my second year. I'm about to graduate this May. I am currently doing the internship with Felipe at Swiss Austral. Thank you for the words. And I'm very happy. This has been a unique opportunity because I've been able to be with this company in the establishment of their branch here in America. And from the very beginning, like building, getting the things for the lab and building the customer base, reaching out our clients. And it's been a unique thing because my ultimate goal is to go back home and open my own company. And it's awesome because I think it's first my program, my degree is going to be a first in Ecuador. There's no one else that has this. And, and I think this is going to be opening a lot of doors for me. So I like to think of myself as an ambassador of my country here. And I will be a very proud one, ambassador of the MBB and UGA back home, because we need this training. I know I need it. I know I liked it right now. And I'll be convincing people to get here, because this is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a great program. Thank you.
I didn't know if it was real good. That's great. Okay. So hopefully through what we've been presenting to you is if you're a company and you're thinking about partnering with us, the more you talk to our students and you talk to our industry partners who are already here with us as partners, hopefully you'll be convinced. And if not, talk to some more people and come talk to me. So we really think that we need support at multiple levels. We need support from the university. We need support from our faculty who are willing to train our students. We need industry support in multiple ways. And we need your help in getting the word out to really talented people to apply to our program. And I'd like to end by asking our friends from Baxter, Erica, Erica's here? Oh, Ken's going to do it.
So it's my pleasure to be here. We're sort of the new kids in the block in Georgia. Baxter really hasn't had a manufacturing presence in Georgia, so we're excited to come here and introduce ourselves to the community. I know Scott and I both had an opportunity to come here during the GMP conference here a couple weeks ago, and I was surprised it was 38 years that this conference was here, and we did learn quite a bit, got a chance to meet some of the team. So just a little bit about Baxter. Our mission really is about saving and sustaining lives. When you look at the volume of products manufactured by Baxter, just about 6 million people a day are using our products. Really specialized as well as general drugs for human use. Really, some of our core focuses, hemophilia, biotherapeutics, kidney disease. It really is an international company with manufacturing sites spread throughout not only the United States, but outside the U.S. Just a real brief overview. Now, when you look at Baxter's business as a whole, we're really split into two divisions, our bioscience division and our medical products division. So the facility that we're building in Georgia, by way of introduction, is within the bioscience umbrella. So the bioscience operation really focusing on the biotherapeutics, biosurgery, the hemophilia, as well as vaccines. On the med product side, we have a number of different ranges of products to include the biopharm solutions, the fluid systems, renal, as well as some specialty products. These are the two products that we're going to be manufacturing out of the Covington site. First one is GammaGuard or GammaGuard Liquid. It's a purified IG product in liquid form. That's used primarily for folks that have primary immune deficiency as well as MMN, multifocal motor neuropathy. And then the second product is an albumin product in a flexible presentation, a product we refer to as FlexBumin. What we'll be doing in Covington is we'll be purifying the final form of GammaGuard, doing the filling, packaging, and distribution. And as far as our FlexBumin product, we'll be manufacturing the final bulk. That bulk will then be processed into the final container, as you see here. So, what about Covington? Why should we be excited about Covington? What's going on there? It's a manufacturing facility, okay? It's a big manufacturing facility. If anybody has an opportunity and they're that far south off the 20, you should drive by. And every day I drive by and I drive into work, I'm surprised at how big it looks. Maybe a little bit nervous. It's over 1 million square feet. And we're at various phases of construction. Right now, we're mainly in concrete and steel, but we're going to be progressing, occupying our first buildings starting next year. The site itself is 160 acres. The facility I came from before in Los Angeles was just about 16 acres, just some size of difference. The capital investment to build the plant and the surrounding area, over $1 billion. At the end of the day, we anticipate having about 1,500 full-time jobs just within the fence line, as well as additional jobs across the U.S. to support the production in the facility. The technologies that are deployed or will be deployed in the site includes plasma fractionation, in which we take donated plasma and purify therapeutic proteins. On the purification of those proteins, the final formulation, fill finish of those drugs, our laboratory operation, our warehouse operation, and we'll also be doing plasma testing. So this is when you donate a plasma unit, doing a serology and virology in order for us to further process that material. A key part for us is to be building a modern facility. And when I say a modern facility, really it's heavily upon the degree of automation. So the processes that we're building are through using a distributed control system for process control, electronic document management, as well as modern buildings and facilities and other equipment. So last slide here. So, what is our mission? Really, it's about saving and sustaining lives. If anybody has any interest in jobs or what's going on at Covington, here's the plug, Baxter.com Covington. We try to maintain that site. We've got a lot of local interest about jobs and opportunities at the Covington facility, and this is where you start. So thank you.
Thank you. So I've mentioned already a number of ways that we might partner together, and I encourage you to visit our website. At the end of the presentation here in just a moment, outside we have some posters that I encourage you to speak with the students, speak with the company representatives. We have, let's see, Bryce, where are you? A visitor from, there you are, right in front of me, New England Biolabs here, with a new opportunity for some internships, so students, find Bryce. And we also have a visitor, Michael Pishko back there from Texas A&M University for the National Center for Therapeutics Manufacturing. Did I get it right? Yes. Awesome. So we're also reaching out to other perhaps somewhat similar programs, but they have quite a different focus, mainly on GMP and therapeutics. So take a look at the posters, talk to these people, let me know if you have questions. Kim Gentry, Kim's back here too. She's our development officer in the Office of the Vice President for Research if you have questions. And there are a number of ways that we could partner together. I have copies of the presentation on a flash drive. If you didn't receive one and you'd like one, let me know. And with that, I think